Okay, this is called Wisdom 101. If you'll all take seats, please. Thank you. Okay, my name is Dr. Walter Carmichael, and for those of you wondering what you're doing here, which is probably all of you, I will explain. I know you were surprised at freshman registration to learn that you were automatically enrolled in this course. Sorry about that. See, this last-minute change occurred because the august institution for whom I endeavor and from which you hope to graduate has seen fit to add to its offerings a course entitled Wisdom. So that's why we're here. Now, Merriam-Webster defines it as knowledge that is gained by having many experiences in life, the natural ability to understand things that most other people cannot understand, knowledge of what is proper or reasonable, good sense or judgment. That would all be true if wisdom existed, but it doesn't. Wisdom is only what people decide it is. Let's take those 4 definitions. 1. Knowledge that is gained by having many experiences in life. Well, people can, and frequently do, experience the same thing in different ways and draw different lessons from it. Over a lifetime, how many of these are wisdom and how many are just plain wrong? 2. The natural ability to understand things that most other people cannot understand. Well, the last time I checked, that was also insanity. 3 and 4, knowledge of what is proper or reasonable, good sense or judgment. Yes, but people must agree on what those things are, and if you've noticed, people generally don't. Remember, it's been over 1,000,000 years since we humans started to think, but it's been only 400 since wisdom stopped telling us that the sun revolved around the earth. Wisdom exists only in the eye of the beholder. And if you approach this course with the right attitude and you work hard to develop the necessary skills, here is my promise. Each and every one of you, with the exception of the lowest 20% who must fail, will, to varying degrees, become wise in the eyes of others. And that is all that matters. Now look at the syllabus in front of you, and I will give you an idea of what's ahead. For the introductory section of the course, you will need to buy 2 books. The Virtue of Cynicism by Jacques Disparagère and Capacity for Opacity by I.M. Ply. The first book outlines the importance of skepticism. Nothing works better to set you apart from the herd than if you oppose popular beliefs. But it's not that simple. Done incorrectly, and you're dismissed as a crackpot. Done artfully, and you could claim that the sun won't rise tomorrow and people would actually give it credence. The second book, Capacity for Opacity, deals with ambiguity. To quote John Lennon, got to be good looking 'cause he's so hard to see. I can't stress this enough. The more meanings people can take from what you say, the better. Do it effectively, and they'll just fill in the blanks. Any idea, no matter how vague, will make perfect sense to them. Moving on to the intermediate section of the course, we cover the proper use of phrases like obviously, as we now know, and a myriad of others. You'll need 2 books for this. Friend or Foe, that's F-A-U-X, by Sue Persilius. And The Myth of Common Knowledge by Trudy Grapevine. As you can see, incidentally, I just used one of those empty expressions. Did anyone notice? You're nodding your heads, but I don't believe you. As you can see, phrases such as these convey the impression that you respect your reader or listener's intelligence. Now, because you are students at a prestigious university and have met certain high standards to get here, you undoubtedly assume that if anyone's intelligence deserves respect, it's yours. Okay, let's move on to the final section of the course, literalism. Does anyone know what that is? Oh, come on now. Are you already so intimidated that rather than raise your hand, you'd give the impression of ignorance? If you learn one thing in this class, it's that it's not smart to play dumb in a course called wisdom. I'll ask again. What is literalism? Yes, young man. Speak up. Can't hear you. Taking things literally. Thank you. That was brilliant. Okay. For this section, you'll need to buy only one book because it's the definitive statement on the subject. It's called Oh, Really? By Walter Carmichael. That's right. I got to make a few bucks just like everyone else. All right. They say that literalism is the opposite of creativity, but they're wrong. In the proper context, it's a very useful tool. Now, do you remember a while ago when I said you could claim the sun won't rise tomorrow and people would actually give it credence? Well, guess what I'm claiming? The sun will not rise tomorrow. Anyone disagree? Come on, what is this, an oil painting? Let's see some hands if you think the sun will rise tomorrow. There you go. Nearly unanimous. My God, what courage. I noticed there's a young lady down front who didn't raise her hand. Would you care to tell us why, miss? Ah, yes, a shrug. Excellent exercise for the shoulder muscles. All right, I repeat, the sun will not rise tomorrow. Now, since so many of you disagree, will someone tell me why I'm wrong? You there in the back, wearing that garish tie-dye shirt. Why am I wrong? Why will the sun rise tomorrow? What was that? Because it always has? Well, I'm afraid the answer is precisely the opposite. The sun will not rise tomorrow or any other day because it never has. The sun does not go around the earth, remember? It doesn't rise and set. Welcome to the real world. Okay, if you'll please take seats. Take your seats, please. Thank you, thank you. Well, here it is at long last, our final class together. It's been a lively semester, to say the least. And out of the 87 students who began this course, only 5 have seen fit to drop it. The rest of you have taken to it quite eagerly. You plunged into the techniques of sophistry, verbosity, and circumlocution with such relish that it's almost as if they came naturally. I have the results of your final exams here, and they indicate significant potential, which disappoints me greatly. It means that you have completely missed the point of all this. Do you recall my saying that wisdom exists only in the eye of the beholder? Of course you do. But you never realized that as the beholder, you were given enormous power. You could have rejected me and everything I say. You could have seen through it all and understood that I'm espousing only the shallow trappings of superficiality, but you didn't. Now, those 5 people who dropped the course, they did. That's why they're all getting A's. As for the 82 who remained, well, you'll also recall that I said that the lowest 20% of you must fail. I was not referring to a curve. And it didn't mean that failure would be confined only to that 20%. In fact, to the contrary, each and every one of you will be receiving an F for this course. Sorry. And when you take my course again, which you will be required to do, don't take me for a fool. Don't assume that you can get an A by simply dropping it as those insightful 5 did. That train has left the station. You'll have to get there some other way. But don't worry. Now that you have spent this term learning what not to do by getting so good at doing it, you will be able to recognize pretentious phoniness when it rears its ugly head, and that's a good thing. That's why the great majority of you will figure this out, and I'll be glad to remove those F's from your record. And then maybe, just maybe, we'll all be among the lucky few who catch a brief, microscopic glimpse of wisdom. In the meantime, enjoy your intercession. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I want you to know that I do realize that in these 2 stories I've given you 2 characters that are kind of obnoxious. I do realize that. Well, there's going to be one more in this song, but it's the last one, I promise. The song is called Spots Before My Eyes. Spent a fortune on my shrink, gonna tell you what I think. I think people still can't stand me. I think my parents never planned me. It don't bother me, 'cause now I see the light. It gives me the right to say what's best for you. I know just what you should feel. I got missionary zeal. Your impatience doesn't faze me. Go on and tell me that I'm crazy. It don't bother me, 'cause now I'm free. I had spots before my eyes, couldn't recognize my life story. Read it like a censored letter, spots before my eyes. And then I realized, now I got glasses. I see the spots much better. Seems like only yesterday I had nothing much to say. Now I rave on by the hour. Makes me feel like I got power. Do I bother you? That's what I do the best. Call me a pest. It's just 'cause you don't know. Everything is made quite clear in this pamphlet I got here. All your questions answered neatly. It's gonna change your life completely. Don't you wanna be a schmuck like me? Yeah, that's our name. It stands for Students of the Holy Method of Unconscious Karma. I had spots before my eyes. I couldn't recognize my life story. Read it like a censored letter. Spots before my eyes. But then I realized, now I got glasses. I see the spots much better. Spots before my eyes. Spots before my eyes. Giving me lots of blots and dots under my eyes. Baba do da dee 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 My life story, read like a censored letter, spots before my eyes. Then I realized now I got glasses. I see my spots much better, spots before my eyes. Spots before my eyes. Giving me lots of blots and dots over my eyes. Thank you. Okay, for as many of you might know, I was very, very fortunate throughout the 70s and the 80s to write and sing on a lot of jingles for TV and radio commercials. And so, because singer-songwriters are supposed to do a medley of their hits, here is a medley of some of mine. Dear American Airlines, something special in me. Cup of soup is quick, delicious, fast as boiling water it takes. Cup of soup is quick, delicious, the soup that only Lipton makes. Favor lets the beauty of the wood shine through. Favor lets the beauty of the wood shine through. It cuts through old polish, leaves a shine that's fresh and new. Only favor lets the beauty of the wood shine through. Oh, what a pizza, there's nobody's pizza like Godfather's Pizza. Godfather's Pizza you can't refuse. We start out with an English muffin, then add cheese and egg and something really good. Canadian bacon, yes, that's how we go about making breakfast. That's a morning treat. Hot cakes and sausage, they tasty. Baked fresh with batter, they taste better. Topped with butter, yes indeed, it's breakfast. McDonald's breakfast, made from the very best ingredients. We do it all for you at McDonald's. We do it all for you. Okay, thank you. I'd like to just say a word about my website. I got a website, Lenny Levine Writer, one word, lennylevinewriter.com. If you've enjoyed this stuff tonight, please go to that website, check it out. Lots more stories, lots more songs. Share it on Facebook. I'm always trying to increase my readership. And I want to thank you. Thank you for coming tonight. And again, giving me a chance to do this stuff for you, because I love doing it and I hope you like it. The final story tonight is called What's in a Name? Throughout her 26 years of life, Anna Douglas had been lousy at names. Whenever she was introduced to anyone, the name, no matter how simple, would slip right through her like water through a sieve. Making good eye contact, smiling warmly but not flirtatiously, nodding or taking the person's hand with just the right amount of pressure, these things dominated her concentration and left her powerless to do anything else. Didn't even have to involve a handshake. Just the eye contact and the awareness of the smile were enough to derail her. She tried like crazy to overcome it. She always made sure to repeat the person's name as it was being said, but it would evaporate within seconds. On the other hand, she never forgot a face. In her job as a dental receptionist, she could instantly identify a patient who'd been there before, even if it was only once and more than 6 months ago. In fact, she could even tell you the approximate date of that visit, sometimes the exact date. The patient's name, not a clue. But it wasn't her ineptitude with names that ultimately caused the trouble. It was her uncanny ability to remember a face. That and smoking. Every afternoon, as much as she hated to, she'd ask the other receptionist to take over while she stepped outside for a smoking break. And then, in all kinds of weather, she'd stand there, cursing herself, vowing to quit, and puffing up a storm. Employees, for obvious reasons, had to use the side of the building away from the main entrance to do this, and that's where she found herself one afternoon, huddling in a recess of the building against a stiff January breeze and trying to finish off a Salem light. The parking lot in front of her was nearly empty. A green Nissan pulled into a spot about 20 yards away, and a man in a blue parka started to get out. She recognized him as one of her boss's patients and was trying to think of his name when a black Lincoln Town Car came around the corner of the building. It pulled up next to the man as the passenger window was lowered, and Anna saw a face, also a gun. In terror, she ducked further back into the recess as shots rang out. Then she heard the sound of the car as it pulled away. After a long moment, she got up the courage to slowly and carefully peek around the corner. The man was lying motionless on the pavement next to his open car door. She started toward him, and then it dawned on her. She'd seen the shooter. She'd seen his face. And since she was incapable of ever forgetting it, what in God's name was she going to do? The victim, a 30-year-old man named Eric Wardowski, had been coming in for a periodontal treatment and the replacement of 2 crowns. He was a numbers collector for the Scalisi crime family, and he'd recently been skimming money off the top, possibly to pay for his dental work. Unbeknownst to him, his perfidy had been discovered by the higher-ups. The hit Anna witnessed took place purely by chance. Wardowski's car had been spotted entering the parking lot by Sonny Cortino, who, along with his bodyguard, was pulling out of the Dunkin' Donuts across the street. Sonny was a major mob figure in the greater Boston area, second only to Gus Grim Reaper Galtieri on the FBI's chart. The unexpected sight of Wardowski in his car made Sonny grin like a shark. He'd never liked Wardowski from day one. Customarily, a lower-level functionary would have dealt with something like this, but Sonny decided to do it himself. Neither he nor his bodyguard, in their haste, noticed Anna as she huddled in the shadows. And that's how Sonny Cortino's face became permanently engraved in Anna's memory. 2 cops who'd been cruising in a patrol car a block away heard the shots and got over there. They were too late to see the Lincoln Town Car take off, but not too late to find Anna, distraught and shivering, but ready to do her civic duty, which is how she became a key witness in a trial that would capture national attention and would send her directly, do not pass go, do not collect $200, into the Witness Protection Program. The Big T Diner in Titusville, Florida, was enjoying a larger than usual lunch crowd. Elizabeth Handley, one of the 2 waitresses on duty, had all she could do to keep the orders straight, which got in the way of keeping her name straight. Elizabeth Handley. Anna had picked it herself. It shouldn't have been a problem, but it was. Nick Limnios, the owner and short order cook, was trying to get her attention. "Elizabeth!" he called out through the kitchen passageway for the 3rd time before she realized. "Pick up this burger special, okay? I'm running out of room here." "Sorry, Nick," she said, slipping behind the counter and grabbing the plate. "Maybe you should get your ears cleaned out," he suggested. It was supposed to be instinctive by now, but after 8 months, it still required conscious effort, especially when she was under stress. She'd chosen the name because it was so unlike her real name, but maybe that was a mistake. She didn't regret choosing Florida, though. At least she didn't have to freeze to death to smoke a cigarette. The feds had not provided plastic surgery to change her appearance, but her hair was now short and blonde instead of long and brown. She wore large-rimmed glasses rather than contact lenses, and she'd stopped wearing lipstick. They assured her it would be enough. The timing was good, if anything could be called good about it. She'd been bored with her job as a dental receptionist and was thinking about quitting anyway. She was dating no one, having broken up with her boyfriend just before the incident. The hardest thing, and it was a beaut, was calling her parents. She'd only been given one phone call to tell them she was disappearing. Made her cry every time she realized that she would never see them again, so she tried not to think about it. She carried the burger special over to a table where two white-haired retirees were sitting. One of the men gave her a smile. "No one delivers a burger like you, Elizabeth," he said with a wink. She had no idea what his name was. "Thank you, hun," she told him. She called all the regulars hun. She'd once read that Babe Ruth, who also couldn't remember names, called everyone pal. She figured if it worked for him. Presently, the lunch hour crowd diminished, and there was only one table with customers. Gave her a chance to step outside behind the diner for a cigarette. After a bit, she was joined by Marge, the other waitress. She didn't know Marge's last name, but her first was no problem because the two of them wore name tags on their uniforms. Anna had often thought how nice it would be if the whole world wore name tags, like a convention. I should look at my own, she thought, remembering how Nick had to call her 3 times. Whenever something like that happened, it rattled her. Marge, her fellow smoker, was an obese woman in her 50s who sweated a lot. She had a foghorn voice that Anna found grating, and worse than that, she was nosy. "Where'd you say you lived in Cleveland?" she rasped, apropos of nothing. "I just remembered. I got cousins that live on Dennison Avenue. Where'd you say you lived?" Clark Avenue, she said, which was true. She'd actually lived there at one time when she was little. The feds had worked with her to develop a backstory that would be familiar and easy to tell. "Isn't that near Dennison?" Anna had no idea. She wished more than ever that she didn't smoke. Then she wouldn't be trapped out here with this sweaty Grand Inquisitor. "Oh, they're pretty far away from each other," she said, hoping they weren't right next to each other, and Marge knew it. She felt the familiar urge to get away from this woman. "Listen, I should get back inside," she improvised, stubbing out her cigarette. "I need to wipe down my tables." "It's your own fault, you know. You make those codgers drool all over them." Marge gave a damp, throaty laugh. "I guess it's the burden I bear," Anna said, smiling as she stepped back into the diner. Nick was in the kitchen cleaning the grill, and the place was empty of customers. But not for long. Through the picture window, she could see a white Cadillac with Massachusetts plates pulling up outside the entrance. She felt a chill. The feds had considered the Big T Diner a safe enough place to work. It was small, off the beaten path, and it did mostly local business. Occasionally there was an out-of-state plate in the parking lot, but never until this moment from Massachusetts. Nope, no problem, she thought, trying to stay calm. It's a big state. They could just be grandparents down here visiting their kids. But the two large men getting out of the car and approaching the diner didn't look at all grandparently. They were in their 30s, one with a mustache, the other one clean-shaven. They both wore golf shirts, had dark, slicked-back hair, and seemed to be arguing. Anna's stomach lurched as their faces registered. She'd seen them before. They were at the trial, sitting among the spectators. She was absolutely sure of it. They were right at the entrance now, about to come inside. She had to do something. What? She ducked back into the ladies' room and locked the door. She didn't know if they'd seen her. They could easily kick in the flimsy wooden door if they wanted to. She stood in the middle of the tiny room, hyperventilating, fighting the panic. A glance in the mirror made her look away. To her own eyes, despite the changes, her face still looked exactly like Anna Douglas. The two men were inside the diner now. She could hear them through the door as they were evidently continuing their argument. Yeah, what kind of jerk doesn't have a goddamn GPS? That's what I want to know. The smart kind. I don't need no satellites watching how I drive. Yeah, well, I think you're nuts. Hey, hello? She realized Marge was still out back and the front of the diner was empty. Hello? Yes, sir. Nick was coming out of the kitchen. Can I help you? Yeah. Maybe you could tell us where they're hiding this place we're trying to find, this Spiny Woods Country Club. Piney Woods Country Club, the other corrected. Whatever. Never heard of it, said Nick. Supposed to be around here? Supposed to be on Route 420. Ah, okay, that makes a difference. All right, I can tell you just how to get there. Anna held her breath, clinging to a desperate hope. Could this be all it is? Really? Just an incredible coincidence and then we're going to leave? Could I, out of all human existence, be that lucky? She strained to hear what they were saying, but it had become muted. Nick must be giving them the directions. Anna gnawed at her lower lip. How long before they left? She might not hear them going out. How much time could she safely give it? 5 minutes? 10? Hey, all right, thanks a lot, said one of the voices. By the way, you got a nice place here. How come there ain't no customers? What's the matter, the food's lousy? The other one let out a barking laugh. It so happens, Nick said haughtily, we get people coming all the way from Orlando just for our burgers. This is the slow time between lunch and dinner. It'll start filling up. Yeah, said the first guy. You run this place yourself? Yeah, I do all the cooking. I got 2 waitresses. One of them's out back having a smoke. I don't know where the other one is. She must be around somewhere. Come on, Anna silently implored them. You got the directions. Don't you have to be at that country club? Come on, leave already. All the way from Orlando for one of your burgers, huh? The first one again. Hey, we know something about burgers, right? This got another laugh from his friend. Yeah, I ate 22 of them once in a contest, he explained to Nick, which I won. Yeah, you also won the puking contest afterwards. Now they were both laughing. Well, I guarantee you, said Nick, whatever those burgers were like, they were nothing compared to the quality of my burgers. God, Nick, what are you doing? Shut up. You think? Said the first one. Hey, I'm hungry enough. Let's find out. She had to grip the sink to keep from collapsing to the bathroom floor. Because of Nick's stupid ego, they were staying and she was going to die. There was no escaping it. They'd recognize her instantly and she was going to die. But then the second man spoke. Wondrous words, life-giving words. Hey, listen, I don't think we've got time to hang around. Don't we got to get there already? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Spun like a tape loop in Anna's head. And then her heart sank. Nah, we got lots of time. You should relax a little. Come on, sit down. She was still gripping the sink. She stared at the drain and tried to think what to do. She couldn't just cower in there until Nick came looking for her. There was no choice but to go out. Okay, so make it as natural as possible. Wash your hands, dry them, step out the door, all calm and carefree. And there was actual hope, she realized. If they were sitting in Marge's section, she could just continue on into the kitchen. Marge would take care of them. With any luck, she could just stay there until they were gone. She tried to hold on to that as she opened the bathroom door and stepped out. They were sitting in her section. Ah, there you are, Nick said over his shoulder as he moved back into the kitchen. We got customers. The understatement of the year. Smile, she told herself. Just keep smiling. They hadn't seen her smile in the courtroom, so it would be yet another thing that was different. She went behind the counter and drew 2 glasses of water. Then she grabbed 2 menus and some silverware and on unsteady legs walked over to the booth where they were sitting. Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are you doing? She said, trying to add a drawl to her voice as she handed them the menus. We're doing good, said the one with the mustache. He squinted at the name tag on her breast. Elizabeth, huh? That's right. She kept the smile going. What'd you name the other one? His friend cracked up laughing. Anna felt the anger rise up in her absurdly. She tamped it down. We got some specials on the back of the menu, she said. Maybe it was good if they were fixated on her breasts, not her face. Nah, we don't care about that, said Clean Shaven. We're going to have hamburgers because my friend here can't resist them. Your boss said people come all the way from Orlando just for your burgers. Was he telling us the truth? Absolutely, she said, even though she had no idea what Nick had been talking about. They come from even further away than that. Pretty impressive, said Mustache. You like burgers, Elizabeth? Oh, I can take them or leave them. What do you like on yours? She asked, trying to move things along. He looked at her directly for the first time. She kept smiling and hoped for the best. I like bacon, cheese, onions, mushrooms, lettuce, tomato, whatever you got, with lots of fries. Well, you just described our burger special. How about you, sir? Just plain with nothing on it, and you can skip the fries, Clean Shaven said. Gotta watch my figure. Mustache chuckled at his friend's wit. How'd you like 'em done? Anna asked. Medium well, said Clean Shaven. Mustache chuckled again. My friend here is a wimp. Make mine so rare that I gotta mop up the blood afterwards. Anna inwardly cringed. Okay then, how about drinks? Clean Shaven looked up at her. She tried to meet his gaze. You got any Jack Daniels? I'm sorry, we're not allowed to serve alcohol. They both rolled their eyes. You got coffee, though, right? Said Mustache. Yes, sir, we do. Bet people come all the way from Orlando just for the coffee, huh? Pretty much. He gave her a wolfish grin. Good for you, Elizabeth. You stick to the program. You're a good employee. Thank you. Would you like your coffee now, or you want to wait for the burgers? The phone hummed in Mustache's pocket, and he suddenly lost interest. He pulled it out, frowned at it, and then started tapping on it. We'll wait, he said, not looking up. Okay then, Anna said, and got out of there. She turned toward the kitchen and then suddenly realized what she could do. Her shift had only an hour left before Rosa, the relief waitress, came on. Why not get sick? Fake the mother of all migraines. Oh, Nick, I can't stand it, she'd say. I gotta go home and lie down. It won't be busy for a while, and we just have that one table. Marge can take over, can't she? I promise I'll work extra tomorrow to make up for it. She got to the kitchen just in time to see Marge leaving via the back door. What's going on? She asked carefully. Nothing, said Nick. Her ex-husband is being a jerk again, so she has to go pick up the kids at the daycare. It's okay. You can handle things for a while. It was all Anna could do not to cry. Nick must have noticed it because he looked at her oddly. Are you okay? She willed herself not to cry. I just don't like those 2 guys out there. Hey, I'm not crazy about them either, but you know, business is business. Yeah, like Murder Incorporated, she thought. She sat down by the refrigerator to wait for the food to be ready. She would have loved a cigarette, but she wasn't allowed to take a break while there was still an active table. Waitresses had to be available in case the customers wanted something. Please, please, don't let them want something, she silently prayed. Nick finished up the 2 burgers, one with everything, the other with nothing, and now she had to go back out there. She took a deep breath, squared her shoulders, and, smile in place, approached the booth. Here you go, fellas, she sang out. Whatever conversation they were having stopped as she put the plates in front of them. Mustache grinned at her. Is it rare enough? I want to see that blood flowing. Now, you won't be disappointed, said Anna. I'll go get you coffee. She slipped behind the counter, poured 2 cups from the pot, and grabbed the creamer. When she returned to the table, they were both chomping away. Hey, this ain't too bad, said Clean Shaven through a mouthful of food. Mustache had to struggle to keep parts of his concoction from slithering out of the bun, but he seemed content enough. Let me know if you need anything, Anna said as she moved away. Enjoy! She ducked back into the kitchen. Normally, Nick wanted the waitresses to hover and be attentive to refilling customers' coffee cups, but in this rare instance, he seemed to understand her discomfort. So, if no more customers came in, she'd only be in front of them one more time when she was delivering the check. No customers did come in. 15 uneventful minutes went by before she heard Mustache call out, Yo, can we get a check out here? She'd had it all made out and was ready to go. She pushed open the kitchen door and, wearing the smile, approached the booth. How'd you like your burgers? She asked them as she placed the check on the table. Mustache gave it a brief look and then pulled out a roll of bills. I've had worse, he opined. He peeled off 3 20s, which more than covered it, plus a sizable tip. Well, thank you, sir. Come again. She almost bit her tongue as she said it. The 2 of them got up and started heading toward the entrance. Anna began to clear the dishes from the table, holding her breath. They were at the front door now, opening it. As soon as they walked out that door, it would be over. Unbelievably, it would be over. Hey, Elizabeth! It was Mustache, still standing in the doorway. Just wanted to tell you, you're all right, you know? Some waitresses hang around and they bother you all the time with stuff like, how are you enjoying your salad, sir? Would you like more coffee? I hate that. And I appreciate you respecting our privacy. Well, thank you. I was glad to do it. Yeah. You're okay, Elizabeth. By the way, what's your last name? It was as if he punched her in the stomach. She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Her last name. She'd totally forgotten it. Make one up, she told herself. Anything! But the only one she could think of was Anna Douglas. He was staring at her now, with the beginnings of a smile. What's the matter, Elizabeth? You don't want me to know your last name? The phone hummed in his pocket. He took it out, looked at it, and muttered, shit. His face darkened as he read the text message. Son of a bitch, he said, and suddenly it was as if she no longer existed. He pulled open the door and strode outside where Clean Shaven was waiting. He grabbed him by the arm, yelling something, and they both got into the car. With a squeal of tires, they pulled out of the parking area and were gone. Anna stood staring out the window at the empty parking lot. Handley, she said. Elizabeth Handley. I know it like I know my own name. Then she started laughing so hard she was afraid she'd never stop. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.